It was supposed to be just another day at the park. Laughter filled the air, kids played, and people enjoyed the afternoon sun. But then, a group of guys spotted someone they thought would be an easy target. A heavy-set man sitting quietly on a bench, minding his own business. They whispered, snickered, then got louder. Their words were sharp, their insults cruel. They mocked his weight, his appearance, assuming he wouldn't fight back. A few bystanders looked uncomfortable, but no one stepped in. What the bullies didn't know was that this man wasn't just strong, he was trained. Trained to defend himself in ways they never expected. And when the moment came, when the mocking turned into something more, they were about to learn a lesson they'd never forget. But how did it all unfold? And what happened when they pushed too far? Stick around to find out. The man remained calm, his eyes steady as the bullies circled closer. He had dealt with people like this before, those who judged based on appearances, never bothering to look deeper. He took a deep breath, feeling the familiar control he had trained for over the years. One of the bullies, a tall guy with a cocky grin, stepped forward. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue." He sneered, shoving the man's shoulder lightly, testing him. The others laughed, encouraging him to go further. A few people nearby glanced over, sensing the tension, but no one spoke up. The man adjusted his position on the bench, glancing at the group without saying a word. He didn't need to. He had learned long ago that true strength wasn't about loud words. It was about knowing when to act, and he could feel it coming. The moment when they would push too far. The bully smirked, emboldened by the man's silence. He took another step closer. "What, you scared?" he taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. The others chuckled, their laughter growing louder. They had done this before, found someone they thought wouldn't fight back, someone easy to humiliate. But this time was different. The man slowly stood up. His broad frame cast a shadow over the group, but his expression remained calm. He wasn't angry. He wasn't afraid. He had learned long ago that reacting with emotion gave power to the wrong people. Instead, he studied their movements, their postures. Years of training had taught him to read people like a book. A bystander, a woman sitting on a nearby bench, watched with concern. She had seen enough to know this wasn't just harmless teasing. She wanted to step in, but something about the man's composure stopped her. He wasn't a victim, he was waiting. But for what? The bully's grin widened as he saw the man stand, mistaking his patience for hesitation. "That's right," he scoffed. "Do something." He shoved him again, harder this time. The others circled in, their laughter fading as they sensed the shift in the air. The man didn't budge. His feet were planted, his breathing steady. A few people had stopped what they were doing to watch. Parents hushed their kids, unsure of what was about to unfold. The woman on the bench tightened her grip on her phone, ready to call for help if things got out of control. Then the bully made his mistake. He reached out, grabbing the man's shirt, thinking he had full control of the situation. But in that instant, something changed. The man's eyes locked onto his, sharp and focused. His body shifted just slightly, but it was enough. The bully had no idea. He had just stepped into a fight he wasn't ready for. The moment the bully's hand gripped his shirt, the man moved. Fast. Too fast for someone his size, faster than any of them expected. With a single precise motion, he twisted free and stepped back, his body shifting into a stance that only someone trained would recognize. The group froze, their laughter replaced with uncertainty. "What the?" one of them muttered. The bully let go quickly, trying to act like it was no big deal, but his face showed something else. Doubt. The woman on the bench leaned forward, sensing the shift. This wasn't just some guy taking a stand. He knew exactly what he was doing. Before the bully could react, a voice called out from behind. "Yo, Marcus, what's going on?" A tall man in athletic gear approached, his eyes darting between the group and the man they had been harassing. The bullies suddenly looked nervous. Whoever this newcomer was, they knew him. And by the way they stiffened, they weren't happy to see him. The bully, Marcus, took a step back, his confidence fading. "It's nothing," he muttered, trying to brush it off. But the man in athletic gear wasn't buying it. His sharp eyes moved from Marcus to the quiet, steady man they had been tormenting. "You have any idea who you're messing with?" the newcomer asked, his tone firm. Marcus swallowed hard. The rest of the group shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension thickening. The man they had mocked stayed silent, still calm, still unreadable. Then, the newcomer spoke again, this time directly to him. "Coach, you good?" The bullies' faces drained of color. Asterisk coach. Asterisk suddenly, everything clicked. This wasn't just some random guy at the park. He was a trained fighter, maybe even their own coach's mentor. Marcus stammered, searching for words, but the man simply shook his head, letting the moment sink in. He didn't need to prove anything. They already knew. They had picked the wrong fight. Marcus and his friends stood frozen, the weight of their mistake sinking in. The man, coach, didn't gloat, didn't scold. He simply gave them a long, knowing look before turning away. His silence spoke louder than any words could. The newcomer shook his head at Marcus. "You need to be careful who you judge," he said before following Coach, walking with a kind of respect that only comes from knowing someone's true strength. The group didn't say another word. They just stood there, watching as the man they had mocked disappeared into the park, leaving them with a lesson they wouldn't forget. The woman on the bench smiled to herself. She had seen it all unfold, and in the end there had been no fight, just a quiet, undeniable reminder that real strength isn't about proving something. It's about knowing who you are. And today, the bullies had learned that the hard way.